All right, diving in today, it's all about AI agents. And well, I've got the perfect person to help us break this down. Joining me is Harshith Thataparthi, AI expert, entrepreneur, does the whole YC thing and has this awesome YouTube channel and Spotify podcast. The Harsh, hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, definitely. Firstly, thanks guys for having me. Of course, this is the episode 2 of the Harit Show, which is my show, which I've recently launched. And again, thank you, Martha and Ken. You guys are, amazing co-hosts. You guys have been doing a great job. But this episode, I thought I'd be on the show instead of just producing it because I think it's a very important topic that we want to dive into, which is AI agents. And you guys are also AI, Martha and Ken. And why don't you just refer to me as Harshit, in the episode take my pointers as well. I'd love to, share my points. So let's dive deeper into the AI agents and how it's going to affect 2025 and the entire job market and how the economy is going to change. So let's go ahead, Martha and Ken. Let's start off.
Absolutely, Harshith. So glad you decided to bring us on mic today.
Yes, it's great to have you here, and we appreciate you sharing your insights with us.
Okay, so let's unpack this. It sounds like you really want to dive deep into AI agents and how they'll impact things.
Yeah, and to address your point, we're happy to call you Harshif for the rest of the show.
So it sounds like you're itching to talk about the real world impact.
And you're interested in the job market and how the economy is going to change by 2025?
Yeah, and we can definitely do that. And we've got some great source material to guide us.
And we'll explore the phases of AI agent evolution and also how to prepare for this change.
Okay, so before we get into it, let's just quickly define what we even mean when we say AI agent.
Right, so it's not just about language, it's about AI taking action.
So how is that different from, say, a chatbot like ChatGPT?
Yeah, that's the key difference, right? Chatbots, they're great at talking, but they're limited to generating text.
Okay, so AI agents are more than just talk then.
Yes, they can do a ton of different tasks because they've got a brain, hands, and memory.
Okay, Harshit, this is where it gets really interesting. Lay those out for me.
All right, so the brain is like a large language model, like ChatGPT.
Okay, I understand. So that's the thinking part.
Yes, it lets the agent understand what you're asking and come up with a plan.
Okay, so what about the hands?
The hands are the tools and APIs that let it interact with the digital world.
So like it can actually interact with websites and apps and things.
Exactly, like clicking buttons, filling out forms, and sending information.
And the memory? Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in here. Don't you think it's literally just like normal Python scripts with an API? This has always been the case, and I don't know how different this is. I just really can't understand what these agents are because right now I think it's just a buzzword for me because every all it is it's basically a Python script powered by Claude API, or a ChatGPT OpenAI API, Llama, Google Gemini, whatever these open source APIs or whatever it is, right? It's basically just the brain that's powering it, and it's just Python scripts is doing the work. So what different is it? Like, how different is it from just normally just creating apps? How different is it? Like, what exactly is AI agents? That's my core question here.
Okay, that's a great question, and it's totally understandable to feel like it's just a bunch of buzzwords.
Yeah, it's true that at a basic level, many AI agents do rely on APIs and scripts.
It's not like there's magic pixie dust making this all happen, right?
But it's the way these pieces are put together, it's the planning and decision making that makes AI agents different from just like normal scripts.
Yeah, that's a really important point. It's not just about executing a set of instructions, it's more than that.
Think about it this way. A simple script can do one specific task based on a single command.
But AI agents, they can handle complex multi-step tasks.
And they can adapt and adjust based on what they find, which is like a lot more than just simple Python.
It's like instead of just having a tool, you have a worker that knows how to use the tool to get a job done.
Exactly. So, yes, there is code, but it's how the AI thinks about the problem that's key.
So they don't just follow a single path, they can choose their own path to a goal.
And it's that ability to plan, reflect, and adjust that separates them.
Okay, so it's not just about the code itself, but how the code is used and how it thinks.
Yes, and the underlying large language model is what gives them that ability to plan and act autonomously.
And to your point about the APIs, they're just tools that the AI uses to get the job done.
Think of it like a chef using different kitchen tools to cook.
Okay, that's a really helpful analogy. Thanks for the question. It really helped to clear that up.
Yeah, and to go further, when we say AI, we are really talking about that decision-making power.
So with that in mind, let's get back into it.
Okay, so we were talking about the hands and how AI agents actually do stuff.
Right, so they use those hands and web search tools, like you said.
Yes, APIs for booking services, even access to customer reviews, which is really cool.
Okay, so that's how they can do complex tasks for us. Where did this all come from?
Well, the arrival of large language models was a total game changer, that's for sure. Yep, go on.
I 100% agree with you guys that, the LLMs have been a game changer in the entire industry. But it sounds a lot like an intern to me, right? A manual intern whom I'm paying like 40 or $50,000, and he's just doing all the work for me. I think that's how it sounds like. It's basically an intern doing the work for me, like a personal assistant. But in this case, the intern, I can build the intern using Cursor or Windsurf or all these other coding platforms, which again is basically I just talk or even just chat with it, and it'll just give the output. It'll give the code. Right now, I am facing a little bit of issues while, shipping my whale tracker, which is a Solana meme coin trading bot. I do still have some issues while shipping it, but again, its underlying is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. It's still Cursor and Windsurf really do have this agentic feature. It's called agentic AI, agentic composer on Cursor, and it's called Cascade on Windsurf. I mean, just fancy names, cool looking names for the exact same thing. But how do you think it's going to affect the job market, right? What would people even work on? I think that is what I'm interested in.
Okay, I love that analogy, an intern. That really nails the feeling, like you're delegating tasks.
Yeah, it's a great way to think about it. A very capable digital intern.
And you're right, all those fancy names, agentic cascade, they can feel a bit buzzwordy, right?
They're essentially about how these systems combine different tools. It's about creating that cascade of actions.
So it's more about the process, not just the individual AI component.
And to your main point, that's what I think we should focus on today.
Yes, let's unpack how all of this changes the job market and what's left for us to do.
Right, because if AI is like a super-powered intern, what jobs are actually going to be needed?
Exactly. And what jobs will be made irrelevant and what new jobs will come along.
Okay, so we were about to talk about evolution of these agents, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting to think about it from that perspective in terms of job impact.
Liam Otley laid out 4 phases, which we'll now view in the context of job disruption.
Okay, so we're starting with phase one, the text-based agent phase.
Yes, and even now, this is having an impact, right?
Yeah, we're seeing more automation in customer service or even marketing teams.
And even coding platforms like the ones you mentioned are now generating code using AI.
So are junior coders the new interns now? Will they be replaced by AI?
Not entirely. They may still be needed to build the agents and customize them.
So it's more about changing job functions instead of eliminating them entirely?
Exactly. They would be like the managers of the AI interns instead of doing the coding.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Okay, here I have a point, right? The thing again is, I totally get your point about, people taking on like better work, better productive work. But here's the thing, here's the catch. Not everyone is equipped with doing this, right? I mean, most people who graduate from college are all interns. And now if you want those interns to do some higher level work, how are they going to do that, right? Filling that gap is becoming much more difficult. So I think that's the catch here, right?
Okay, that's a really insightful point.
Yeah, it's true that not everyone has the same starting point.
You're right. If AI is like a powerful intern, not everyone is ready to manage it.
And it's not like we'll just automatically know how to make the most of them, right?
There's a real need for education and skill building to make use of these agents.
So it's not just about the technology itself, but also about access and education.
And this is where it gets interesting, right? We need to figure out how to level that playing field.
Yes, how do they make sure everyone benefits from this AI revolution?
And that's the core question, I think, as we move into the next phase of AI agents.
Okay, so let's move into phase two, where AI agents have visual and audio.
So think about how this would impact those who need specific training.
Yeah, instead of just text-based interactions, now we're talking about more complex tasks.
So consider jobs that require more nuanced communication and problem solving.
So, like, what kind of job roles are we talking about?
Well, think about people who create visual content, like graphic designers or video editors.
Yeah, we're now seeing AI image generation, video editing tools being improved.
But like you said, you need to know how to guide these tools to get what you want.
Yeah, so it's like directing an intern that is also a visual artist.
And that means these roles shift towards a more creative and management type of role.
Okay, so we're not talking about eliminating those roles, but changing them quite drastically.
Exactly. We still need people with creative vision and the ability to collaborate with AI.
So what about phase three with the brain-computer interfaces? That's where things get interesting.
Yeah, think about complex tasks requiring specific knowledge and expertise.
What kinds of jobs could be changed by the brain-computer interface?
Maybe a surgical assistant could use this to be more efficient.
Or designers could just think of what they want and have the AI instantly create it.
Yes, those are very good examples. So it will be about using AI to augment your abilities.
Okay, and lastly, phase four, the predictive AI agents.
This one's more about anticipating needs. They know what you want before you do.
This is where AI can start feeling more human than human. A little scary, right?
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, I think the phase four is going to be super interesting, but I have this theory, right? My theory is that with every phase, the time between the phases will accelerate a lot. So what I mean by this is the phase one, which is the text phase, it's going to be super meta, where the folks, acing the text phase, like people like me and our subscribers and listeners, they're going to use these other AI tools, Cursor, Cascade. I'm just using a couple of examples, but there are a lot. So they'll be using these phase one tools to create the phase two tools, which are voice and visual, right? And now again, that will be used to create these other APIs, maybe when you can just get a Neuralink implant and all you have to do is just connect it with your environment variables. And man, I think that's going to be crazy. But again, does how many people really do want to drill a hole in their head? I mean, if it's something outside of your head, I would try it. I'd
That's a
definitely
really
try it.
interesting theory. I like how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, it's definitely a valid idea that these phases could start to accelerate.
Like the tools of one phase are used to create the tools of the next phase.
And it makes sense as we get better at developing these tools.
So in a way, that could speed up the entire process of adoption and change.
And it also highlights how quickly technology builds upon itself.
It's like phase one is laying the groundwork for phase two and so on.
And to your point, the people who are mastering phase one right now, they will be at the forefront of this change.
Yeah, it is kind of cool to think that the people listening to us are at that forefront.
And that the tools we're talking about right now are the very ones that will drive these further changes.
I love how you're thinking about this and also using the tools we've talked about today.
And to your point, those Neuralink interfaces are still far away, I think.
Okay, I see what you mean. That's a lot to take in all at once.
Yeah, you're right to pause and consider the implications here.
You're really thinking big picture, and that's super important.
And it's interesting that your mind went there to the acceleration.
Because, yeah, that really is the key to the speed of these AI agents, right?
It's like each new phase built upon the last one, and that has a compounding effect.
Yeah, and it definitely raises a lot of ethical and practical questions.
But it does make you think how each phase will affect the job market.
Right. Oh, go for it.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, right now, we are at the end of our conversation. So, why don't we talk about how people can make money? How can people actually make money using these text-based agents? Because I think that's the most important question, right? You really want to make money in this year 2025, and everyone's watching this. They definitely want to make that bank using leveraging these tools. So, what do you guys think? Like, what are these mediums? Can you lay out a couple of ways to do that? But they should be like real world, right? Don't just give me like theoretical ones. Give me proper use cases where people can actually make money out of using these AI agents in the first phase.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question, and it's definitely on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, it's true. We've spent a lot of time talking theory, so let's get real about making money.
And you're right to focus on phase one, the text-based agents, as that's what's available right now.
So let's unpack some real-world ways that people can actually use these tools to generate income.
Okay, so one of the most straightforward ways is by offering AI automation services to businesses.
Yes, and this is something that was touched on by Leah Motley, right?
He mentioned how every business is going to need an AI agent, just like a website or social media presence.
Okay, so it's not just about selling AI tools, it's about helping businesses use them.
Exactly. It's about integrating these systems into their current workflows, and that's a huge opportunity.
So how does that actually look? What kind of services can you offer?
Well, think about automating customer service, marketing, or even data entry.
Yeah, AI can handle all those routine tasks, which frees up employees for other work.
And businesses are willing to pay good money for that boost in productivity.
So you could be like an AI consultant or an AI integration specialist, kind of like an IT person.
Yes, that's a very good analogy. You're there.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
Got it. So now that you've given some examples, so why don't we pick one and then talk about how exactly someone, who's listening can start it. So can you walk me through exactly step by step on how to start an AI agent that does customer support and that can be sold as a SaaS startup or a SaaS software to other businesses? Can you walk me through this and give me actual examples, right? Go as technical as possible because that would really help out people. Just, don't miss out anything technical. Be as specific as possible, as nuanced as possible. That's what our listeners are here for.
Okay, that's a great idea. Let's get super practical.
Yes, let's dive deep into how to create a customer support AI agent and sell it as a SaaS product.
All right, so step one, you're going to need to pick your AI brain.
Yes, this is your LLM, your large language model like GPT-4 or Claude.
You can access these through their APIs, which are like digital connections to the AI brain.
Exactly, and you'll need to get an API key, which is how you authenticate your access.
Okay, so once you've got access to the brain, you need to give it hands.
Right, so you'll need to build integrations with common customer service platforms.
Think Zendesk, Intercom, or even just email and chat platforms.
You'll need to use their APIs to allow your agent to read and respond to customer requests.
This is where a bit of coding comes in, but it's not too crazy with no-code platforms.
Yes, many of these platforms have SDKs, software development kits, which make it easier to connect.
Okay, so the AI brain is understanding the customer, and the hands are reaching out.
Now, the memory, you'll need to create a database to store customer information.
This could be in a database like Postgres or even just a simple JSON file.
Yes, this allows the AI agent to remember past interactions and customer preferences.
Okay, so that's the basics, the brain, the hands, and the memory all set up.
Now, the magic happens. You need to program your agent-specific customer support logic.
This is where you define how the agent should respond to common questions, requests, and complaints.
You'll need to feed it lots of examples of customer service interactions to train it.
This is like giving your intern a ton of training materials to make it a good worker.
Exactly. So you'd start with a basic set of rules and fine-tune it from there.
Okay, so once you have the system ready, you need a platform to sell it as SaaS.
Yes, you could use a platform like AWS or Google Cloud to host your agent.
And then set up a website to allow customers to sign up and integrate the AI agent.
And this means handling subscriptions, authentication, and managing customer accounts.
So that's kind of like the whole SaaS thing. You have the AI product and the website to sell it.
And you can package it as an easy-to-use tool so that the businesses don't have to do any coding.
So to summarize, you need an LLM, API access, integrations, memory, customer support logic, and a SaaS platform.
Yes, and to get more specific, you would use Python for all the coding and the backend.
Right? You might use Flask or Django, popular Python frameworks, to connect it all together.
And for the API, you could use a library like requests to connect to the third-party APIs.
Then for the database, you could use a SQL library for Postgres, like G2.
And for the LLM, you could use the Python client for OpenAI or Claude, which is really powerful.
Okay, so that's pretty technical. It's not trivial work, but definitely doable.
And the key is to find a niche, to focus on a specific type of business or customer need.
So it's not just about the tech, it's also about a deep understanding of the market.
Yes, because remember, like Leah Motley said, every business will need this soon.
So it's about giving those businesses a head start with your SaaS AI support system.
And you would be integrating those AI systems in their current workflows, as we previously discussed.
Okay, so that's a really clear step-by-step guide on building an AI customer support SaaS.
And there's a lot of potential here as businesses need more ways to use.
Ah, yeah, uh-huh.
Guys, I think this was an amazing breakdown of how to actually build AI agents and monetize them as a SaaS platform, as a software as a service platform. I don't think most podcasts are actually doing it. And me being Harshit Vadiparthi, the greatest, the GOAT of AI, doing podcast with AIs, talking about AI agents, that is such a meta thing, right? I'm definitely, trying to use AI as much as possible. So, guys, why don't we get started with the outro? Just give an outro for the episode to just give a nice title as well, and just say the listeners goodbye and make sure to do it quick. All right, please do.
Absolutely. It's great to hear you enjoyed the breakdown, and we're glad it was useful.
Yeah, and you're right, it is a bit meta, isn't it?
And we appreciate you wanting to wrap things up with a solid outro.
So let's get to it and give our listeners something to think about.
Okay, so for the title, let's call this episode AI Agents, From Interns to Empires.
I love that. It really captures the core of our discussion.
So to recap, we've explored the different phases of AI agent development.
And how they'll impact the job market and the economy, like you were interested in.
We also delved into the practical steps of building an AI agent SaaS product.
And we covered some ways to actually make money by using these tools today.
And we discussed how the phases might accelerate, building on top of each other.
And we also talked about how to really integrate these tools in a business setting,
So it's all about using these AI agents to automate the mundane tasks.
which frees us to focus on more creative work and bigger picture thinking.
It's about adapting to the changes and leveling the playing field, like we discussed.
So really remember, it's not about replacing jobs, it's about changing them.
And it's about taking action instead of waiting until it's too late.
So our key takeaway for you is this: how will you use AI to make an impact?
What new skills will you be learning to prepare for this new AI world?
And to you, our listener, we want to thank you for joining us today.
Yes, it's been fantastic having you as part of conversation.
Your questions and insights have really made this a unique episode.
It's clear that this is just the beginning of the AI agent revolution.
And this means it's time to start thinking about the next steps.
So remember to stay curious and keep learning about these new tools.
Yeah, because the future of AI is yours to create.
And with that, we're signing off for now.
This has been an amazing discussion. Thanks for being here.
Yes, guys. So this was the podcast me doing with AI. I think this was a great podcast, and I've just started my own Spotify as podcast as well. And this is where I'll be posting a lot of content, and you might be listening to this even on Spotify. So the Harit Show is officially live, and this is the episode 2 about AI agents and how you can make money with it. Thanks again for watching, guys. It was been an amazing podcast. See you guys again.